Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back into the podcast. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. Guys, today I am going to be giving you the necessary steps that you need to take to go ahead and win this first round of your fantasy playoffs as we are rapidly approaching week 16 and to go on ahead and win your fantasy championship. I have necessary steps that you need to take. These are the things that I do every year at this exact point in the season to prepare my team to win a fantasy championship. And I am going to get right into it, guys. But real quick, if you have not already, go down and hit that subscribe button below. That's essential for me growing my channel so I can continue to give you content throughout the season and off season. And if you do enjoy my content today, guys, make sure to drop me a like, as likes help my channel tremendously. Okay, guys, I am going to get into my first step that you need to take. And guys, keep in mind that I am filming this right before the start of the Week 16 games, and the Tennessee Titans are about to play. And if for whatever reason A.J. Brown is on the waiver wire in one of your leagues, you need to go grab him immediately. There are players that dropped A.J. Brown in fantasy, and they stopped paying attention to fantasy. And there's a very good likelihood that half the teams in your league aren't even paying attention to the waiver wire anymore because they're already out and they're not paying attention. And A.J. Brown could actually be on the waiver wire right now. I just scooped him up in my biggest league, and I'm playing him tonight. I was kind of mind blown that I was able to get him, but the fact of the matter is he is on the waiver wire in some leagues, so go check your waiver wire. And if A.J. Brown's on the waiver wire, you need to scoop him up immediately and play him tonight against the 49ers. Next on my list, okay, guys, do not bench Odell Beckham Jr. this week. He has a very favorable matchup against the Minnesota Vikings, who have the worst pass defense in the entire NFL, and he's due for a big bounce-back game. Look, 3 out of the past 4 games, he's still done really well. This last game was all Cooper Kupp, but Odell Beckham Jr. is still going to eat in this offense, like I was saying when he came to the team. And the fact of the matter is he is going up against a very weak defense, and Sean McVay is going to make a point to get him the ball after he got essentially just totally shut down this past week. This dude is going to have a huge bounce-back game against the Vikings. He doesn't belong on your bench. He needs to be in starting lineups. Next on my list, with all this COVID stuff going on, you need to have a backup quarterback. I don't always recommend having a backup quarterback in fantasy because I think your bench is best served for all running backs and wide receivers. But it's more important to have a backup quarterback right now than it normally is because, well, your quarterback could be out on any given week because of so many players being benched because of COVID. So have a backup quarterback. The reason I say this is because in my biggest league, look, Taysom Hill is out this week. That sucks, but I just saw that Taysom Hill is not going to be playing this week. Luckily, I have Kirk Cousins as a backup quarterback on my bench, so he's going to serve as a fine backup to Taysom Hill. But if I didn't have a backup quarterback, I might be hurting to find somebody off the waiver wire because the position is getting pretty thin at this moment. So have a backup quarterback. Next on my list, guys, you need to plan for COVID to happen to any one of your players. Operate under the assumption that whatever player you have, or pretty much any player on your roster, could go down easily any week and be out because of COVID or an injury. This is the roughest fantasy football landscape we've seen in like a very long time because of injuries and because of last-second players getting benched by COVID. So operate under the assumption that any one of your guys could go down at any point, and you've got to have a backup player in place to plug these guys in, even if they're your best players like, Cooper Kupp or Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. No matter how good the player is, you have to have a backup player in place for one of these guys in case they go out with COVID, because it's happening on a week-to-week basis. Every week, there's a new handful of stud fantasy football players that are out because of COVID, and you've got to have a backup plan. Next on my list, pay attention to the defensive streaming options. A reason why this is huge right now is because so many players, including quarterbacks, are being knocked out at the last second, and that changes the entire chemistry of the offense that said defense is playing against. And so, a defense that might not look so good going into the week can become a way better defensive streaming option because so-and-so's quarterback is out or so-and-so's best wide receiver is out. For example, I was going to play the 49ers defense against the Titans tonight. Now that A.J. Brown is playing, I'm a little more hesitant to do that, especially considering the fact that I picked up A.J. Brown to play against the 49ers, and because of that, I don't really want to play San Francisco's defense. So the fact of the matter is, all of these last-second benchings due to COVID are changing the outlook of the defensive matchups, so pay very close attention to what is the best defensive streaming option for the week, and don't fall in love with the defense. Next on my list, you've really got to hold on to handcuffs right now, guys, because same kind of reason. COVID going on, people are going down to the last second. Dalvin Cook could be out any given week. Ezekiel Elliott could be out any given week. Aaron Jones could be out any one of these guys that have elite handcuffs options running behind them. You need to hold on to these handcuffs. Do not drop these guys off your roster, because next thing you know, the main running back or player can be out, and then you're going to need their backup to come in, and then you're going to want their backup to come in because they're going to be a running back one at this point. So hold on to all your major handcuffs. Do not drop handcuffs off your roster. You need to operate under the assumption that the starting player in front of them could easily be out on any given week, and you might have a running back one on your team. Final thing on my list, guys, is do not get cute and try to play keep away from your opponent. For example, like if your opponent has somebody out and you look on the waiver wire and think, they might grab this person to play and place it them, and so I'm going to grab them for my roster to keep them away. First of all, you don't know that your opponent is paying that close of attention to the waiver wire. Secondly, there is the possibility that you end up dropping somebody off your roster that you need at some point because one of your starters goes down, and you ended up dropping one of your best backup players that you would have in turn plugged in because you were trying to play keep away from your opponent. I advise against this. I've done this before, and it's always bitten me in the ass. Do not play keep away from your opponent. Focus on stacking your roster up as much as possible. And then overall, guys, final note here, just go through the waiver wire and see who's available right now, because odds are there's a lot of players in your league that aren't paying attention to the waiver wire right now because they're already knocked out of the championship, and so they're just not really paying attention to the waiver wire at this point. So there's some juicy pickup options on the waiver wire. Okay, guys, I do appreciate you tuning into the video today, guys. I want to do something kind of fun here. Post your results of your matchups this week. And if you make it into the fantasy playoffs, post your roster in the comments below. And if you have any lineup questions about it, let me know. But if you do have lineup questions, I need to see your entire roster so I can make the best judgment possible for who you're going to play in the following weeks. So if you do have lineup questions, post your team in the comment below, and let's work together and let's get this ring. All right, guys, appreciate it. Catch you later.